2 times 2 equals 4. So the common misconception in network marketing is that you need to sponsor the world to make any sort of money. People think they need to go out and do massive advertising pushes and go out into the world and knock on every door in their city. It's absolutely not true. The true magic in network marketing lie in the terms exponential growth and geometric progression. So to give you an example, the guy that actually did these presentations in the beginning, Don Failla, grew 4 personally sponsored distributors into a group of over 200,000, and 98% of those distributors in the 200,000 came directly from those initial 4 personally sponsored distributors. And how did he do it? He knows how to build, and that's what you're learning now. So this is how professional network marketing is done. Not recruit, 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 and sell, but sponsor, support, and teach. The money is made with math, not with sale. So, sponsor to and teach. If you sponsored only 2 people in the whole world and taught them to do the same, this is what it would look like. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32, times 2 is 64, etc. If you got down and you had 64 people in your group, does that mean you went out and sponsored 64 people? No, everybody just sponsored 2. Everybody was only required to find 2 people to make that type of thing happen. Geometric growth. So what if everyone was to do just 1 more? You can see how the math is skewed by the addition of solely 1 distributor by everybody. Instead of 2, 4, 8, 16, you've got 3, 9, 27, 81 for a total difference of 65 distributors. And now, did you go out and get those 65 or those 81 distributors yourself? No, you just sponsored 3 and taught other people to do the same thing. So the difference was just 1, and it made a difference of 65 distributors in your group. So how about 2 more than the initial 2? If each did 4, now you can see kind of a profound difference in the total numbers. So remember, you only found 4, not 200. Yet your pay is based on the entire group's volume. That 256 plus the 64 plus the 16 plus the 4 that you found, all of those added together equals your revenue. And if they each have customers, you're paid on every one of their efforts. And that's what we talk about when we say you're leveraging the effort of others to have a residual income producing asset. So lastly, 5 distributors each. This is a large difference, but the real difference is that everyone only sponsored 5. I mean, think about that. In a world where there's billions of people, you only had to sponsor 5 and duplicate that process. So if you had 780 distributors in your organization with only 10 customers each, that would be 7,800 customers and immense volume for sponsoring 5 people and teaching how to duplicate. This is why it's not about sales. And at this point, once you've done this, you couldn't stop this if you tried. If you wanted your organization to stop growing, it wouldn't stop growing. So, never more than 5 at a time. Most amateur network marketers never understand the true success formula. You must work with only 5 people at once. Once you have your 4 levels of duplication, in other words, you sponsor someone, who sponsors someone, who sponsors someone, once you have those 4 levels of duplication and one of your 5 initial people is self-sufficient, only then do you offer the opportunity to be one of your key 5 to a new distributor. You never spread yourself so thin that you can't build that depth and support your 5 people. So the key to success is duplication, not recruiting and sales. Do not sell, sort, teach, duplicate, use the system. Why do salesmen fail? So I would rather sponsor 10 teachers than 10 salespeople. That is, unless the salespeople completely understood these 10 presentations before they started going out and talking to people. Remember, network marketing is not direct sales or door-to-door sales. Salesmen can run out and sell 10 people per day, but we're not in the sales business. It doesn't do us any good to do so. The salesman mentality, most salespeople think that if they sponsor 1 person, they've duplicated their effort. And this sounds logical, but it's absolutely incorrect. If the person represented by the top circle in the diagram below went away, if the you went away, the sponsored individual would also go away. They have to be part of a bigger picture in order to have longevity in the business. The truth is, to have true duplication in an organization, you must be 3 levels deep. You must go 3 levels deep. So as an example, if you look at this diagram, in this example you've sponsored Tom. You need to teach Tom to sponsor Carol. Then you have to teach Tom how to teach Carol to sponsor Betty. So it's a teach to sponsor. It's teach them to sponsor, then teach them how to teach before you have actual true duplication. So this would be a duplicated situation. And in this situation, you could go away. Tom, Carol, and Betty would still run the organization. The super salesman is a closer. So he could go out and sell 3 to 5 people per week into the business. But then what happens? When he keeps recruiting and recruiting and recruiting, he gets up to 15 people. Once he gets up to 15 people, the first 3 to 5 drop out because they're not super salespeople and they're not getting any support. The super salesman's running around recruiting people and not taking any time to train and support the first 3 to 5. So being a super salesperson is not duplicatable. Good public speaking is not duplicatable. And having a large influence or a sphere of influence is not duplicatable. However, the system you are seeing right now is. It's all about a system that anybody could do. It's not about being a super salesman. It's about being someone that could teach a duplicatable system. So to recap, this business is all about a duplicatable system, not about sales skills. The system is duplicatable for both prospecting and training, and you'll use it for both. You're not duplicated until you have built to 3 levels deep. Remember that diagram. You have to teach to sponsor. Teach someone to sponsor, then teach them how to teach their people to sponsor, and then you're duplicated. Now, if you sponsor a driven salesman, or maybe somebody on here is a super high caliber salesperson, make sure before you get out there and start prospecting that you get through this whole 10 presentation set. If you sponsor somebody, make sure they do it. If you are one, make sure you do it so that you don't get caught up. In this presentation, we'll be discussing some things that you must do to be successful in network marketing. And everyone making over $100,000 either per year or per month in network marketing has done and continues to do these 4 things. So I'm going to give you an analogy, and to give you a better understanding of the 4 necessary things you must do in network marketing, we'll use the analogy of taking a trip in your car. And your origin represents where you are now, and financial freedom, which is what we're all looking for, is represented by your destination. So the first thing pertains to your vehicle. The first thing you need to do in network marketing is get in and get started. No one has ever made any money in network marketing in any company without first getting in and getting started. So the business that you choose is your vehicle, and your vehicle could cost anywhere between a couple dollars and a couple $1,000s. So the question that you have to ask yourself is, do you want a business? There's no investment required for a job. There is an investment required for a business. A job doesn't provide you the potential of financial freedom. A business does. So you have to answer that question first. Think about a cappuccino stand. Just the coffee maker itself can run $2,000 before you pour a cup of coffee. And on the other extreme, McDonald's costs $1.5 million for just the name. So the next thing is oil and gas. The second thing you're going to have to do is get gas and oil for your trip. As you travel, you'll use up your fuel and oil, and it's going to be necessary to replace them. So in this case, in network marketing, this is your products. And products that work best for producing long-term residual income are called consumables. In other words, they are consumed, used, and repurchased. So you will use your product for both personal use and to sample out. And you'll have to continually replenish your supply. So that's getting your oil and gas, replacing your product. The third thing you're going to have to do is get into high gear. So you've got your vehicle, you've got your oil and your gas. Now it's time to get into gear. Nobody starts in high gear. We all start in neutral. And notice that network marketing is not an automatic. It takes work on your part to make it run. If you never get out of gear, obviously you'll never get to your destination. So how to get into high gear? When you sponsor someone, you're in first gear. You should begin by setting a goal of sponsoring 5 serious people, and you'll be in first gear times 5 times. And we'll discuss how to tell who is serious in a later presentation. Second gear is when you help your 5 sponsored people, your 5 first gear people, get in gear 5 times. You're in second gear times 25. You get 5, who get 5, and you're in second gear times 25. So this means 5 personally sponsored with 25 on your second level. Third gear. To get into third gear, teach your 5 people to teach. You teach your 5 people to teach their 5 people, or your 25 people, to get in first gear 5 times. So, do not get into first gear for a 6th time unless you have an open spot to give them all the attention necessary. Remember, only work with 5 people at a time. So your 5 first gear people, work on building depth. You're now in third gear times 125. So you've got 5 on your first level, times 5 is 25 on your second level, times 5 is 125 on your third level, and some major revenue going through your business. Now, fourth gear. When your first level people are in third gear, you will be in fourth gear. So this is how you build duplication in your organization. Notice how much smoother your ride is in fourth gear. This is true of your organization as well. So by this time you'll have embedded leadership, and you'll not be able to stop momentum even if you wanted it to stop. So, how do you get into overdrive? Simply teach your people to get their people into third gear, and so on. Put them into fourth gear and you're in overdrive. So this is the equivalent of 5 on your first level, 25 on your second level, 125 on your third level, 625 on your fourth level, and 1025 on your fifth level. So all you have to do is drive 5 people 5 levels deep, and you've got 1,805 distributors, which will get you to financial freedom in most cases. And remember, everyone only sponsored 5 people. It's not any more difficult than sponsoring 5 and teaching. So lastly, sharing the product. The last thing you have to do on your trip is share your products with those that you meet on the trip. Again, I did not say sales. We're not selling the product or knocking on doors to push the product. We're sharing the product, helping people understand the benefit, and when they ask where to get it, you tell them. You have a handful of customers, but if you've got those 1,800 people in your organization sharing with a handful of people, you've got a large portion of product that you're being paid on. So it's important to understand that if you want to get to your destination, getting in gear, in other words, sponsoring, is more important than meeting people and sharing product along the way. They're both important, but you will get to your destination by getting in gear. So to recap, get in the car, get gas and oil, and get into high gear. Share products along the way. To get into first gear, don't say anything, just use this system. Drive them to residual income along with your upline sponsors' help, and let us do all of the work. This is a tool so that you don't need to know really anything. If you say less to more people and pique their interest and utilize this system, and your sponsor to do the rest, very little time is needed to succeed when you do it correctly. First thing that I want you to understand is, in network marketing, much like anything else, you have to commit to learning. Discouragement happens to many new distributors in a company that get involved and go too fast, try and go too fast. And you got to understand that you can't cut hair, do surgery, fix a car, or ride a bike, or anything else for that matter, without learning how to do it first. And this business is no different. So consider your first 2 to 6 weeks in the business a training cycle, getting ready for your first month in business, which will come after your training cycle 2 to 6 weeks later. So what I'm going to do is explain depth and momentum with the high-rise analogy. And if you've ever noticed, when a high-rise is being built, it takes months and months to rise out of the ground, but once it gets above the ground, it goes up relatively fast. And it's the same thing in network marketing. When you start to sponsor your first 5 serious people, you're digging the foundation of your building alone with a shovel or a spade. Once you enlist the help of others and you hit the second level by teaching people to sponsor, there are more and more people helping you, and you've got the equivalent of a bulldozer. When you teach your group how to teach, then you've hit bedrock because you've got 125 people helping you and you've got major momentum. It's not just yourself building anymore. So with a solid foundation, you can now start to build up and drive for serious momentum. So when you grow to 4 levels deep in your organization, in other words, you sponsor someone who sponsors someone who sponsors someone, it means you're starting to become visible and your building will now rise rapidly. Since this is the case, if you've been in the business for several months and just don't see anything happening yet, don't get discouraged. Understand that the foundation is still under construction and you'll get there soon. Don't be like the gold prospector that spent years and years digging and quit 6 inches from the main vein. You never know when your business is going to explode, and you want to be there to collect that revenue and the fruits of your labor. So depth in this case is key. Hitting bedrock for a stable foundation is key. Think about a building that was built upon the sand. Remember the salesperson that sponsored 100 people wide? He basically had 100 people on his first level, and he may have sponsored 100, but he's nowhere near on stable ground unless he starts to build depth. And he'll never get to the sky unless he starts to build depth. And you don't necessarily have to be 4 levels deep with all 5 of your initial distributors. Just one leg, 4 levels deep, and you're on your way to building upward very quickly. So that concludes that presentation, and we're kind of at a crossroads. For anyone not yet involved in a network marketing business, there's no need really to go further at this point, because by now you know that financial freedom comes from residual income. We went over that in the intro. Network marketing provides the ability to produce residual income part-time with what we're showing you, which is simple system. And network marketing is not like a second job or something where you're just earning income like direct sales. It's like a rental property. You put the work in and the rent comes in, whatever you're doing, it frees you up. So network marketing is not sales. It's a sharing business when it comes to the product, and you also look for people that are looking for better lives for themselves, and you give them the opportunity to do better for themselves. Professional network marketers never sell or convince. And last and most importantly, if we can do it, you can do it, and we're here to